to see you. Glad to have you. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Becca, and tonight, girl, we are doing a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm so sorry that I disappeared for a couple of weeks. I actually recorded my BoxyCharm as well as my Ipsy unboxing videos, and oh my god, honey, the audio was absolutely horrendous, so I just scrapped both of them. I was pretty heated about it, but you know what? I'm back, so it don't even matter. Plus, I've been super excited to do this video because I got my Christmas present in a little bit early. And as some of you may have seen on Instagram, I got all three of the Norvina Pro Pigment Palettes from Anastasia, Beverly Hills. So I've been really excited to do a review on these bad boys right here. But instead of doing one separate video for each palette and doing a full workup on each one, which basically every single beauty channel at this point has already done, I thought it would serve it a little better if we did a quick once over on each palette and then kind of compared the three, because girl, these things are so dang expensive. And you know, though they hold really good value, they are 60 bucks a pop. And honestly, without Afterpay, there ain't no way I could have afforded all three of them at once, let alone just one. Oh man, it is just crazy how expensive makeup is sometimes. But anyways, I know a lot of people are looking to get just one of these palettes or maybe buy them one at a time, and I thought doing a little comparison would help everybody decide which one would be best to get. So without further ado, we are going to get started with that, and if you haven't yet, baby, go ahead and leave me a like and subscribe down below, maybe a comment, say hello. First off, there are three main palettes, I guess you could say, but they do have a couple of mini palettes, which I have not gotten yet, only because I really wanted to check out these three first. The purple one here is volume number 1, and all three palettes do come with a gigantic mirror up at the top. Now this one, in my opinion, is really like all of Norvina's favorite colors, plus the primary shades that you really need for you know, everyday looks, but also very colorful rainbowy looks. So Norvina, I believe, is like super into the color purple, and I can't even blame her. So that's why I feel like there's all of these purple shades, but there's also this very bright pink up at the top, and several primary shades that you really need to make a lot of different looks work. And here is the second volume palette, so cracking her open, these are all cool tone shades. I definitely needed some blues and some more cool tone green shades, so I definitely wanted to pick this one up. Now, funny thing is as soon as I popped this open and saw these two partial rows here, I really thought back to the Subculture palette. Like, I almost had a little chuckle to myself, like this was kind of like their version of a redo on some of the worst shades that were in that palette. Looking at the back of this palette, there is approximately 1.8 grams in each pan, which actually is quite a bit of product. I checked out a whole host of my other palettes over there, and they average about a gram, 1.2 each. Now the third palette has to be my favorite because not only do I love butterflies, but I definitely prefer warmer tones as far as makeup goes. So this one also has a gigantic mirror like the other two, but this is like the most neutral palette that they have out of the three. It has you know, 5 or 6 brown tones in it. But it also has several beautiful warm pops of color, which I really enjoy. And actually the majority of the eyeshadow that I have on today is from this palette. And I'll be honest, though I've played with all three so far, I definitely have picked this one up a little bit more than I did the others. Not only that, but I really feel like this palette out of all three of them has the most variety. I mean, you've got the neutral shades and, you know, the gold shimmers, but also some like teals and greens, you've got red and orange, some yellow, purple. I mean, you've got a little bit of everything. So if I were to recommend one out of the 3 palettes and you just kind of want to, you know, get a little bit of everything, this is the one to get. Now that we've seen all 3 palettes, I think it would be a good time to kind of go through and compare each one to the others. I want to start with palettes number 2 and 3. So the main similarities between these two are the greens and the yellows. This one definitely has way more blue. There's only one blue shade over here, and there's maybe 2 colors over here that really qualify as neutrals. I would say that number 2 is definitely the most colorful, vivid, and bright of the 3 palettes, though this one definitely has several bright shades in it. For palettes 1 and 3, I really think the main similarities are the purples and the pink shades, but also both have a couple of orange and red shades as well. So for palettes 1 and 2, I think really the only main similarities between them are the pinks and the couple of blue shades that are in here. Otherwise, you know, there's not a whole lot tying them together. Even the yellows over here are very much different from the 2 that are in here. So I feel like the only similar colors that are in all 3 palettes are yellow, brown, pink, and orange. So only 2 of them have black matte shades, but also all 3 of them do have gold shimmers because literally gold goes with everything. But other than the shades that I just listed, I feel like you can only find similar shades in 2 out of the 3 palettes, if that makes any sense. And while we're talking about these similarities, we are gonna go ahead and swatch up some of these shades and look at them side by side. Honestly, who cares if the brown shade from one palette or the other is similar? They're all brown. But as far as like the brighter colors that I think make a big difference, I tried to show you the ones that I thought were very similar, and actually looking at them, there are definitely slight differences, though on a few they are very much almost the same between a couple of different palettes. So, you know, looking at that, you guys decide. Now let's talk about the pros and the cons and, you know, the good stuff, the bad stuff, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion here. And I think just because I like to end my videos on a positive note, we're going to start with the cons. So out of all 3 of the palettes, as far as the negatives go, I honestly only have like one major complaint, and it's with the shimmers, believe it or not. So the majority of the shimmers in here are duochromes, and they're duochrome gold. So while, you know, for instance, one shade looks pink in the pan, as soon as you put it on your eye, it's basically a gold shade. With palette number 3, there are 3 gold duochrome shimmers that look different in the pan for sure, but look very similar on the lid. So I actually swatched those for you. And though you can definitely see, the one on the bottom looks kind of pink in the pan, the one in the middle looks kind of orange in the pan, but if you're looking at them right now and even in the camera, you'd be hard pressed to really tell the difference. And I'm not really feeling that. I feel like if they were going to do 2 separate shades in one palette, they should definitely be very different. And when you put them on the lid next to each other, you can't tell the difference. Now this one up here is one of the other shimmer shades in the palette, obviously, and it is slightly different, but it's yet another gold duochrome shimmer. Though I do love using this to highlight my inner corner and my brow bone, it's all three of these shades are very similar, so I'm not super stoked about that. I also gotta say, in general, I was not a huge fan of the shimmer formula either, just because I personally prefer the more, you know, hefty, saturated foil shimmers as opposed to the lighter weight and almost, I don't want to say gritty, but it was a little bit, for the most part, most of these shimmers were a little bit more on the gritty slash glittery side, and that is pretty much normal for a lot of duochromes. If you check out any of the duochromes that are in my ColourPop palettes, as well as the ones that are in the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette, you'll notice that they're more, you know, they're more gritty and they're a lighter, almost like a lighter sheen when they go on the eye. And I just prefer to have my shimmers be more full coverage, if that makes sense. So I really wish that they would have taken their shimmer shades in that direction. I do feel like I gotta build them up a little bit more than I do most of the other shimmers that are in my collection. I also feel like I should point out that while on one hand I totally appreciate that this is a super heavy duty palette, it's made of metal and not some cheap, you know, lightweight cardboard or plastic. If you're anything like me and have rheumatoid arthritis or have arthritic hands in any sense of the definition, it is not realistic to sit here and hold a heavy palette the entire time that you're trying to do your eyeshadow. One last thing, as far as cons go, they definitely the shades definitely will stain your fingers as well as your eyes, so do be prepared for that. And now that we got that out of the way, baby, let's talk about the good stuff, because there is a plenty to say. So, number one, hands down, no contest, girl. These are definitely the most pigmented eyeshadows that I have in my entire collection. The mattes especially. With the exception of maybe the yellows and the greens, every single one performs way better than any comparable eyeshadow shades that I do have in my collection. You know, even the white from the Volume 1 palette is above and beyond my expectations. Pretty much any other white matte shade that I have in the rest of the eyeshadow palettes that I have are practically useless. The formula, the matte, I'm especially impressed with because they blend so smoothly and they come off so differently from any of the other matte shades that I have in my collection, including the other Anastasia Beverly Hills matte shades that I have as well. I also found along my adventure here that the shimmers definitely work better if you use your fingertips and some setting spray, and then I found that the mattes work better with small, dense, stiffer brushes. So as opposed to using like a really fluffy big blending brush with the matte shades, I would recommend using like a small pencil brush or a detail brush, and that way you can get the most out of the pigments. If you're not really into bright, colorful eyeshadow looks, these are not going to be the ones for you. But if you're into like cooler tones, this is definitely your girl right here with all the greens and the blues, but it does still have like a hint of pink and orange and yellow. If you're looking for a little bit of everything, or you're just starting out your collection, or you need something more for like an everyday type of a deal, I would probably recommend palette number 1 because, you know, purple is so in right now. And it really goes with everything, but it also has some of like the more necessary shades like the black and the brown. If you're more into warm tones like me, or you need some really good neutral colors, this is probably your best bet. Though it does have like a lot of really bright pops of color in here, this definitely has the most neutral shades of all 3 of them. Of course, if you're still having a hard time deciding which one you want, or if you even want to invest that amount of money in just one of these palettes, I would probably recommend going for one of the mini Norvina Pro Pigment Palettes, because while there are only 9 shades in there, they are definitely half the price of these palettes, and you could at least test the waters first. So that is it for today. I definitely recommend these palettes. I love them to pieces, and they are my new favorites. But if you have any further questions for me, let me know down in the comments below, and I will definitely do my best to answer them. In the meantime, you can definitely count on some tutorials with these bad boys coming right up, and probably several of them because I'm totally in love and I'm having such a fun time playing. So this look that I did today is not really my favorite of all the ones that I've done so far, but it was definitely fun to put together. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see some more everyday looks, or if you want to see some more like avant-garde, artsy eyeshadow looks with these palettes. And girl, you know what time it is, so don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and go out and spread some love and positivity today, baby. We could all use some extra. You're beautiful and I love you.